Hello and welcome to Nosgoth News Network with me, Bazilim. It's been a very busy week in the Legacy of Kain fandom as the Soul Reaver spin-off graphic novel The Dead Shall Rise reached its final days. We can say that now it finished on the 12th of September and officially managed to raise over $1.3 million in backers. Pledges for that project. That's 1.2 million euros, or if you follow Great British Pound Sterling, that's £1 million, which means I get another opportunity to do this. Okay, so we had 7,800 backers, raising $1.3 million. That means it's the 5th largest comic and graphic novel Kickstarter project in history. So a brilliant success, has definitely shown that Legacy of Kain as a franchise can generate revenue. If you have backed that project, thank you for all of your support. It means looks like we're getting say around about May 2025 for releases. That's what the current estimates say will be when things start coming through. Though of course, if you have backed Kickstarter projects before, you might be aware that those timelines could change and could slip. So just be aware that that is the current estimate, and that could change. Obviously, with such big success in such a short period of time, the project did end up putting out some stretch goals to further see what they could raise after blowing through $1 million in the first week or so. The first stretch goal we had mentioned previously was that Daedric would be added to the official soundtrack by Cell Dweller. That was added when they reached $1.1 million. In the last week or so, there are obviously a couple more milestones that have been hit that have added more things to the project. So at $1.2 million, a Blood Omen 1 map of Nosgoth was added. Now, if you are familiar with the Legacy of Kain merchandise and bits and pieces, you will know this project, know this map as the one that was bundled in with the Prima guide for Blood Omen 1 and the PC box releases of Blood Omen 1 as well. Also got a version of this map, so you will be getting that digitally if you pledged digitally, and a physical printed map if you got pledged for physical goods. The next milestone they reached was $1.3 million. That was hit with a few hours remaining on the clock. That unlocked a Daniel Kabuko concept art of a new character called Kai Setsek. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Stay tuned for a little more on him. It also unlocked a 3D model of Mobius from Soul Reaver 1 for you to 3D print. Again, looks like that this would be physical digital, so if you got physical stuff, you would be getting the Daniel Kabuko concept in a physical printed form. If you only got digital stuff, you will be getting it digitally. So there's a lot more that's been added to the project since then. On top of the various goodies and the extra stretch goals, they've given us a few bits of extra information and bits behind the scenes. And there have been a number of interviews to do with the project, discussing the background of the projects, how people got involved, what people consider the Legacy of Kain to be. Some very interesting reading there. From a lore perspective, one of the things that is interesting to highlight about those is that it has said that there will be numerous revelations about Raziel's lifetime. So how he was as a human, his transformation from human boy to a Seraphan warrior, and his transformation to a vampire. And again, a mention of the significance of his wings. That'll be interesting to see how that is dealt with, particularly because there is already some basis in the lore for how the wings and the other evolutions or devolutions of the lieutenants come about. So it will be interesting to see what spin they've got on that there. Now coming back to our character of Kai Setsek, we got obviously we got that concept art by series artist Daniel Kabuko. There's a lot more information about him that's been put out as well, with a new character profile. Some very, very interesting little bits here. So I'll try and read some of this for you. He is a half-Hilden abomination torn between two realms. Part of his soul was banished to the demon realm, but his consciousness and his soul were split, and his material manifestation continues to haunt and is confined to some mysterious woods now near the human settlement of Thornlatch. Now Thornlatch is a completely new human settlement. It's not one that's appeared in any of the previous games or any previous maps. According to the press releases they've put out, according to the profile they've put out, it's a new settlement where the human Raziel used to live. So Raziel presumably lived there as a human, or may well have even been born there. It's not clear, but you would assume, given medieval things, he was probably born there. Now, Kai Setsek is doomed to wander the eerie paths through the wood where time flows differently, and outsiders can only visit by invitation. Word says not even Mobius can reach Kai in those woods. Kai, obviously a little nickname we're getting there to stop having to say the full thing. Apparently Kai Setsek can commune with ravens and the creatures of the forest, and practices Hilden magic in solitude. And his ultimate goal is to be reunited with reunite his shattered soul and leave the cursed woods. So some very, very interesting backstory there. We'll see how that gets integrated into everything that we know and how that comes along. Obviously, May 2025 is the date we'll get the full story on The Dead Shall Rise. So if you've pledged to that project, look out for then, for when we'll be able to get the full story on Kai Setsek and Elaleth and Raziel and The Dead Shall Rise. If that's a little too long to wait, we do have some more immediate Legacy of Kain news, and that's that the Evercade release of Blood Omen and Soul Reaver has now got a release date. It's going to be September 30th this year. So within a few weeks, there will be a new release of Blood Omen and Soul Reaver. Now, as we discussed last time, Evercade is sort of a enthusiast's retro console. All the games come on cartridges that you can buy and play, and it depends on which version you buy as to which sort of experience you have. There's a handheld and there's a sort of a home console version as well, and these will be straight ports of the original games. So there are already some reviews out there. Some people have got advanced copies, so look out for those. If you are absolutely desperate to play Blood Omen and Soul Reaver, the Evercade releases are coming out this month. Finally, some heartwarming news on the subject of cameos. So if you've been paying attention to the gaming industry over the last few years, you will notice that many people in the industry do have a bit of a fondness for the series and its characters and its symbology, and every so often you'll find a little Easter egg related to Legacy of Kain crop up in a number of different games. Perhaps most notably is the Tomb Raider series, run by the former Legacy of Kain developers Crystal Dynamics, who have included a number of symbols over the years, and even went so far as to have Raziel and Kain crop up as cameo characters in the Lara Croft and the Guardian of the Light game, which was a very entertaining little arcadey cooperative game. Well, one of the DLCs on that allowed you to play as Raziel and Kain, with their dialogue humorously swapped around for dialogue that was in the Legacy of Kain games to make a nice, funny little storyline there. I do recommend that. That's quite fun if you're into that sort of thing. But one of the other sort of big cameos we've had over the last few years is what has sort of become the Sony PlayStation 5 mascot, Astrobot. When the PlayStation 5 was a new console, it came with a pre-built-in sort of small game called Astro's Playroom, and in those you could find little Astrobots that were in the shape of different characters that had been sort of Sony's big hitters and ones that people remembered with nostalgia. And in one of those levels was a little Astrobot that looked like Raziel. Well, this week or a couple of weeks ago, Astrobot had a proper sequel, a full-on PlayStation 5 game, taking advantage of that. And in those games, both Raziel and Kain were spotted as characters that you can collect. Now, I believe it's Lightbulb Cavern. I might have that wrong. I'll pop a little thing on screen as I look this up and find out where it is. But you can find both Raziel and Kain in one of the levels in the game. You can then collect them, and they appear at your home base area. Raziel on a rock, doing his sort of Soul Reaver opening pose, his promotional pose with the one with Raziel on a rock. Kain is Blood Omen 1 Kain, in the iron armor with the Soul Reaver, and both of them you can spend money to give them little animations. So Raziel, you knock him off the rock and then he switches to Spectrum and switches back. Kain gets hit and drinks from some blood from blood bottles, which looks actually to be blackcurrant juice or something like that. Very humorous little retellings of the characters. So looks like Sony has remembered us as well, as the Legacy of Kain series is making some waves around the gaming industry at the moment. So as mentioned before, we have a new release coming up in the next few weeks on the Evercade console. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And in the meantime, let's see what else the Legacy of Kain series has got for us. Until next time, Vae Victus.